Microphone activated.
All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to the English coverage of the Dota 2 Professional League group stages. This is going to be a best of two between Vici and FTD.c. Very, very strong teams here. Crazy plays. We have seen some crazy drafts tonight. Shout out to Immediate Drow Strat by Wings, and this is going to be a good one here. I'm very excited. I'm going to be your hype caster for the evening, Annie, aka Android, and I am being joined by the one, the only, my right-hand man, Sindar. What's up, dude?
It's great to be back. I've been on DPL hiatus for a little bit, kind of going through some withdrawal, but if we're back for tonight, I'm glad to be here. And yeah, Vici Gaming, FTD Club C should be a good matchup. FTD Club C doing a little better as far as points go for the round robin so far, but I mean, these teams, I feel like either can take a game off either of the other ones, and we could easily see a 2-0 going either way here as well.
Absolutely here. Now we have the Disruptor Ricky combo, combo that has been picked up a lot. Disruptor, the most picked hero in the Manila Major, so just a lot of utility coming out of this guy. And Ricky we've seen be very, very strong. Now the reason Ricky is picked up instead of the Bounty Hunter is not just because Bounty was banned out. It's because he plays that kind of discount bounty hunter role at first, roaming around, sniping couriers, being obnoxious, but the fact that he has that AoE silence, that mischance, and then he can transition to a semi-carry as the game goes a little later, it's so much use for FTD Club C. That does put a lot of weight on Disruptor to play that hard 5 the whole game through, but I think FTD Club C can get off with it. And now what kind of cores do FTD Club C look to capitalize on that AoE lockdown with the Disruptor, Kinetic Field, Static Storm, Ricky Cloud?
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of ways you can go with the draft from here on. There's a lot of options, but against heroes like the Phoenix, like the Faceless Void, Ricky and Disruptor, great for both of these, as you do want to be able to silence them up, control them before they can get their spells off. Faceless Void in particular, if this is a farming Void, then Ricky being able to counter his time walk away makes ganking him so much easier. And the same with Phoenix, preventing the dive away. So if FTD Club C get any kind of burst damage to follow these control heroes up, then they can easily take out a key part of Vici Gaming's team fight.
Absolutely here. Now, Vici Gaming, they're looking for kind of an AoE clump up of their own. They've got the Void, they've got the combo with the Egg. Do you think they go for a Witch Doctor support? I mean, how heavily do they want to rely on the ultimate timings of their heroes?
I don't think they want to rely too much. I mean, you've already got the Chrono and the Egg, so I feel like at this point, Vici, they want to pull back for something that can fight at all times. Witch Doctor, not bad, because his ult cooldown is not terrible, and his other spells provide a lot at all times, but you want the rest of your draft to be able to fight not necessarily around their own ultimate timings, because otherwise it can just be too easy for FTD Club A, or Club C rather, to find a time when the ults are down and just take too much damage on the base or in a team fight or at the Roche pit when Vici Gaming can't fight.
Alright, so going on to third pick here, Vici, they still need a safe laner, they still need a mid, they still need a secondary support. It'll be interesting to see whether Phoenix is going to be put in that 4 position, allowed to roam, allowed to get some solo XP, or if he's going to be cornered into the hard 5. Looks like Lion picked up as the hard 5, means Phoenix will have some space to go and itemize a little bit greedier, maybe looking for that Midas early on to make sure he stays on par with levels.
Yeah, you can actually run this a number of ways, because the Phoenix and the Lion, both actually heroes who need their farm and levels. As supports go, they're more greedy than some of the other choices. So certainly I wouldn't be surprised to see these heroes move around a little bit together, depending on, of course, what FTD Club C have in the lanes. But this is a potent ganking duo with any kind of +1. Faceless Void, once he gets the Chrono, is an easy kill, obviously, but even some other cores that they can pick up potentially for the mid lane. Phoenix and Lion, a lot of kill potential. And I feel like there won't be a true 5 here. I imagine the Phoenix Lion will look to distribute their farm fairly evenly.
Alright, now for Vici Gaming, do you think we're going to see the Void as the offlaner or run him as a position 1, which is something we've seen increasingly in these Chinese drafts, and maybe give ROTK something like the Tide to go in that offlane position and apply a little bit more utility support, some more teamfight presence?
Yeah, and I'm not sure Vici Gaming even know that yet, which is probably why they choose the Void first. It's one of those heroes that they can be flexible with. If they have the opportunity, if they see a good space for it, they'll run it as a farming core. If not, they can always revert to the offlane. However, if we look back over the last few games that they've pulled out the hero, more often than not, it is run in that offlane role for ROTK.
All right, we'll see if he wants to get that up and aggressive. You know, I love the way ROTK plays is tied, but you can't fish your wish every time. Now the Doom picked up here. That is a lot of disable, and of the 3 heroes so far, and now the 4, who's Doom's biggest target in these team fights? Is it always the Void?
Not necessarily. I mean, Void, if Chrono is up, if you can get it up before he uses it, that's obviously great, but then you've got to be able to burst him down. And they do have some chase. They've got the Glimpse available. Ricky can Blink Strike, and of course Doom with that movement speed. Once he disables the Time Walk, it's great. Juggernaut, if you can get him before the Omni Slash comes out, would be my priority target if I were playing the Doom. Just because, you know, if the Chrono's there but there is no follow-up damage, it's not as big a deal, whereas the Juggernaut is, if he can get his Omni Slash off, it's at least going to be 1 kill almost always, if not just a 1 team fight. So it'll be a switch up depending on what cooldowns are up, which are down, but the Juggernaut probably going to be the priority choice almost every time.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta make sure he's locked in place. Now, looking at the power spikes here, I think Vici are gonna be able to fight pretty early. We haven't really seen the position 1 core. Oh, it's an Alchemist. They're freaking all in. They're going for it. Now, I'm assuming that's gonna be Alch mid. Alch safe lane is just a little bit too situational here. 9 out of 10 times you're gonna throw it in that mid lane. And we haven't seen Vici's mid reveal yet, so they have the opportunity to go through and play something that's very strong against Alchemist. They could go for something like a Death Prophet that can fight early, that can really harass the Alchemist back out of lane. What do you think Vici should do about this?
It's tough to say. There's
Reserve time.
hold on one sec. I've got some echo going on.
You muted me in client. You gotta mute co-broadcasters.
I think so. Hold on. Sorry about this, guys.
Also, make sure your
got
open mic is
distracted by
on.
the sound of my own voice.
You know what? It's a beautiful voice there. So Canadian, so rich, and
Oh, thank you, thank you.
So, Vici Gaming, going into their last ban, they gotta take out something here. Assuming it's a mid-Alchemist, you gotta take out a position 1. I very much doubt we're gonna see that position 1 Ricky. Stranger things have happened in Chinese drafts, but I think it's pretty set as that roaming 4, so that means they do have 1 shot, 1 opportunity to ban out a core. They will go for the Gyrocopter. That does leave early fighting heroes like the Queen of Pain available for FTD.c if they want to safe lane that Quap, and I really like safe lane Quap. I think if she builds the Orchid first, it could be a great strategy against Vici Gaming's lineup. You've got 2 silences for the price of 1 with the Orchid, with the Doom, and you know, we're going to go into the last ban here. Vici Gaming themselves need to pick up a mid. We'll see if FTD.c ban out the Quap against them. They could also ban out the Puck if they want to get out the control. They're going to ban the Timber, making sure there's no more big ol' strength heroes on into it. And
I like that ban a lot.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's if you get a Timber on the Vici Gaming lineup, it's 1 too many heroes that Doom has to do. You can't let Juggernaut and okay, a Tiny for the safe lane.
Oh my, it's happening again. Ag Synth onto the Tiny.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the play. I don't really see. I mean, Tiny is such a hard hero to pick up without that Wisp backing him up. He's very situational as a carry, but if you can get that early Ags, it is kind of an all-in play though. Because Alchemist, you know, if he is forced to blow 4K of his early net worth onto upgrading the Tiny, then if he's too far behind, he can really nerf himself with that.
You know, it's going to be the strategy of Alchemist stays poor for a long time, gives that 4,200 gold item to Tiny, then Tiny goes immediate Butterfly, and he's able to go through, dodge out a lot of the damage Vici Gaming is putting out, and he's got some nice AoE control himself. I'm liking what FTD.c are putting out in terms of their draft potential, but it is going to come down to execution, and I think Vici, they're just a little bit more proven when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah, and the risk part for me in this is that if Tiny is given a lot of gold by the Alchemist, if he gets off to a great start, if Alchemist is poor because he's given too much to the Tiny, Tiny cannot solo carry this game against the lineup that Vici have. So if the Doom and the Alch are sacked so the Tiny can have a good game, FTD.c will not do well. This Tiny cannot be the only core. He's got to be fighting fit, but also with an Alch and Doom who can fight with him. Otherwise, VG will pick them apart.
Alright, so moving back on in-game here, I mean, we talked about the potential of both lineups. Again, it will come down to execution. Gotta give a slight favor to FTD.c. I honestly think this Tiny strat will work out. I've seen it be so successful in the past, as long as Tiny isn't slowed down, as long as he's not punished in lane, as long as the Alchemist gets a decent tamming on that Aghanims. We're gonna see a lot of damage being put out by FTD.c early. earlier than the Juggernaut's going to be able to deal with, earlier than the DK can deal with. So it's going to come down to power spikes, who hits their momentum spike earlier on, and I'm very excited for this game. Chinese Dota so far has not disappointed in terms of draft potential tonight. We've got Drow strats, we've got position 1 Necrophoses, and now we're going to have that tiny Ags going for him with the Alksynth.
Absolutely. And I mean, this is one of the reasons why I've enjoyed DPL so much. We've seen some really interesting drafts. We've seen teams that I've certainly never heard of come out with really interesting things, take off big games off of much more well-known teams. And it's the kind of Dota where you never know what's going to happen. And I'll always, for me, as not a betting man, I can enjoy that. If your rares are on someone, it may be a little more of a nail biter. And it looks like the Alchemist will secure the bottom bounty rune, so Ghost off to a great start. That's what he wants.
Yeah, he has to level that Griebel's Greed first, but, absolutely not a problem there if he's going to go for that more farming build. He's already flying himself some goodies, picking up his Boots of Speed off the back of that bounty, and now we've got CTY as the Juggernaut, and this is such a strong hero. I mean, CTY, we have seen him go mid, we have seen him play up a bunch of different roles, bunch of different heroes. Sylar is going to be taking up the mid this time for the Dragon Knight. Now, Dragon Knight versus Alk. Who's going to come out on top here? Because Alk doesn't really have that much zoning potential level 1, aside from an Acid Spray or two.
He'll struggle early on, but once he gets a couple points up in Acid Spray, Sylar, it will enable him to last hit. Sylar, of course, will have the Dragon Blood in a point or two, so it won't be easy for Ghost to throw him out of lane, but he can hold his own. He'll be able to get some CS, and, worst case scenario, he just steps back, pushes out the lane with Acid Spray, and then steps back, stacks the jungle camps for himself, farms that a little bit. He'll be able to keep up, certainly. Though it should be fairly even.
Speaking of stacking the jungle camps, we've already got the Riki kind of causing a problem for Burning. Burning's trying his best to get some support, but we'll have to split up that XP with the Riki. Riki just really enjoying the fact that Lion basically dragged XP right to him. And, how much effect will this Riki have? It remains to be seen. It's either going to be super impactful, lots of kills right away, or it falls a little bit flat, and then Riki struggles to transition to that semi-core position. Now there could be a gank on mid. Sylar goes through with a Breathe Fire onto Ghost. Riki pops down a sentry ward, making sure he's not being scouted out. Now they're going for the right-click harass. They certainly don't have any kill potential, but just forcing back Sylar might be enough, forcing him to use a Tango and an Iron Branch, and that's going to just help Alchemist farm up a little bit cleaner.
Yeah, the CS are even right now, and Sylar should have a bottle coming out to him in about 3 gold. So we'll be able to maintain the sustain, but like you said, a lot is going to be down to how effective this Riki can be with his rotations. If he can find a kill on ROTK, like we talked about in draft, a very aggressive player, and Faceless Void can be aggressive, but if he gets caught out in a silence and doesn't have access to that time walk when he thinks he's going to be able to use it, he can really be punished, not to mention the glimpse from this Disruptor. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some action down in the bot lane. I feel like that's probably the easiest kill that FTD.c can go for.
Yeah, the problem is they are going to have to force out RDK's leap, and they actually do. They get it right now. If they wanted to initiate, they're not going to be able to go for it just yet. They've got the Avalanche Toss combo, but it's not quite enough there, as Void has the poor man's shield. He's anticipating taking a lot of damage. He did pick up a double stack of Tangos to start things off.
Yeah, and one of the downsides to Tiny as a core is against a melee hero, unless you've got a lot of constant help in lane, you can't really zone. ROTK will be able to trade hits with Kian, no problem at all.
Oh, Ghost could be in some trouble. They got an Invis Phoenix. I mean, Riki walked right past the Phoenix, but 2 ships passing in the night, no one saw each other, so gonna be a bit of a zone here for the Alchemist. He doesn't want to go in too deep. He picks up the Soul Ring right away, just getting that extra bit of sustainable mana for himself, and, Sylar, he's gonna go for that 2-1-1 build. What do you think of him grabbing that extra point, or that early point in Dragon Tail? It's sometimes not prioritized by Dragon Knights.
It's actually really nice if he does get roamed on. It's a potential escape.
Oh, speaking of Roman, we might have some damage coming up here. There will be a dust revealing the Riki. He's going to get sunbeamed up. There's not a whole lot he can do. He doesn't have the Blink Strike yet. He's only level 1. Looks like he will be the first blood. It goes the way of the Phoenix. HYM starting things off in stride here, cawing with victory as he does pick off the Riki. So Riki having a much tougher time than other support Rikis we've seen so far, even just tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, CTY didn't even have to use a spin for that. Just a bit too dangerous to be positioned there, and reveals himself, gets caught up by the dust. A little unfortunate for him. Of course, it's not the worst kill in the world to give away, but the fact that he's still level 1 is a bit of a concern. Oh, now bot lane, Chen gets the toss, but doesn't get the gets the avalanche, but not the toss, and RTK just fine. We'll time walk off the damage.
Yeah, the problem is you've got to force out RTK's time block before you go in with a Tiny combo, otherwise it's kind of useless, and Tiny doesn't have the mana pool to sustain going in with Avalanche after Avalanche. He's really got to be careful when he initiates, and so I think this is just going to kind of be a farm fest down bottom for the next 10 or so minutes until there's rotations. Now, Sylar, I mean, he's doing his best to keep up in terms of farm, in fact, is surpassing the Alchemist in terms of farm. It's getting kind of close here. Sylar's got 26, Alc's got 19, but with Alchemist 2 points in Greevil's Greed, Alchemist is actually doing pretty well in terms of farm.
Yeah, and the big disparity is the offlaners. We take a look at the Doom, he's managed to find 7 CS, whereas this ROTK Faceless Void, he's already at 14. So as far as the lanes go, as far as the last hit wars go, so far the Dire considerably ahead. Winning all 3 lanes, really.
I mean, you don't expect a Doom to be able to just stomp his lane and dominate unless he has a lot of support. You really want Doom just to be up there for his levels, and he is actually finding a decent chunk of levels. He's level 3.5, but compare that to the Void, who's been shoved up into the wave the entire game. He's going to be level 5 right now. That's a big difference.
And I mean, if this Doom had started off with an Iron Talon, he would be even with the Void, if not ahead. So I feel like the build that he chose to go for, the Boots First build, has really not paid off for him. He could have had a lot more impact on this game if he just sat back and focused on his own economy.
Down bottom, we will have that Avalanche coming out, but again, Void just zip-zapping away. You really gotta force the time-lapse and then go in, then go for the aggro, but ROTK, he is a very accomplished player and knows exactly when to go in, when to back off, when to play safe, when to go aggro. We are going to see Lion going in very, very deep on top of the Riki, looking for some vision here, but he might not even know the Riki's right behind him. Meanwhile, Juggernaut does get a kill on the Doom up top, courtesy of the Phoenix Sunbeam. Good spell. We are going to have an initiation here as Burning may have bitten off more than he can chew. There will be a Disruptor Kinetic Field. They're going to punish this Lion. I mean, he is going to regret stepping into that Radiant Jungle. He thought he had good vision, but he did not. An Alchemist actually getting a kill off the back of that. The Greevil's Greed. I mean, he's getting a lot of gold out of this, and we're going to see if he's going to go for more selfish items or if he goes for Ags right away. He will build up the Armlet, and then we'll see what he goes for next.
I think you at least want Armlet +1. I don't think you rush the Aghanim Scepter.
Oh, ROTK. He's up, he's down, but he's got the leap. Leaps right into a bounty rune, so he's styling, but there will be the glimpse back. Now he's got no more escape tools. He has to sit there, he has to fight this. Looks like a mango will be eaten up by the Tiny. He wants one more toss. He will get it, but the Phoenix, trying to keep his teammate alive, will not be successful. HYM continuing to zone. They will get the Dragon Tail here, so maybe they get a consolation prize of the Tiny. They will get him down with that Breathe Fire to burst him out. So that's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. Void for a Tiny actually doesn't end up favoring FTD.c after all.
It's unfortunate that Tiny went down, but the fact that Ghost was involved in that kill is probably okay for FTD.c.
Oh, we're not done with the action, though. There will be an Earth Spike connecting with the two. They have the Doom, but he doesn't have his ulti yet. He's only got that Shockwave for one final big chunk of nuke damage. They can't afford to lose Ghost here. They've got the Phoenix Beam, and one final Breathe Fire will get him down. They lose the Phoenix, but that is not an even trade, not even a little bit. Getting the Alk down there is so crucial, so good job, VG.
Yeah, they did at least get the 2 supports. So, I mean, sure, VG will be okay with that, but at least FTD Club C got something out of losing their Alk. But yeah, like you said, that probably still does favor VG, just because of how farmed this Alchemist is right now.
RTK dealing with a little bit of damage, and he'll back off, he'll feel safe. So the fact that the Void went down isn't ideal, but he's getting very, very close to that 6, and that's a big jump point. You're gonna have
he's
Alk.
gotten a lot out of this lane.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing just as well as an offline Void should be. As CTY getting some free hits onto this tower. They've kind of ignored this super farming Juggernaut. He's 1-0-1. How much longer can FTD.c afford to ignore the Juggernaut? Because he is going to come in with a vengeance at some point.
Yeah, it depends really on CTY, what item timing he wants to go for. If he goes for the Battle Fury, then FTD Club C can sit back and wait a little bit longer, but if he goes for some kind of more aggressive fighting build...
Oh, they get the dust here onto the Riki. There's an Earth Spike. There's a spin. Goodbye, Riki Maru. It looks like it will be a Battle Fury on that Juggernaut with that Void Stone picked up. I mean, unless he wants to go for, like, a Lincoln's, but I don't think so.
Yeah. Now, there is a 3-hero smoke from VG. They're looking for the mid lane, but unfortunately for them, the Alk is actually back from his camp. They may know this, though.
I mean, they see the Acid Spray. They've got to know something's up. Burning goes in with the Hex. Great reaction time. And we'll go through with the Earth Spike. He gets off that regen. Is it going to be enough to save him? No, the Phoenix Beam burning him down. Finally, Phoenix is able to get the kill. This Phoenix is on fire. Most literally will pay with his life. Now, there is a glimpse back. Burning not going to be able to TP out of this one. Will end up taking a Riki Blink Strike right to the back of the head. 14 seconds left in the Blink Strike, but looks like they will get that split kill. Doom unleashing the Shockwave he stole from that Satyr. And now there will be
once again, it's the Alk for 2 supports, and they also force the rotation off the lane from Chen Chen, so he's not farming on the Tiny this time. His time is being wasted, and the Alchemist falling once again. I mean, we talked about it. If he wants to go for that Ags play with the Tiny, he can't afford to fall behind himself. He's got to be very much on top of the net worth for his team to be able to afford to make that kind of play. And
I mean,
right now, those two deaths are really hurting.
Absolutely. He's like on top of the net worth by not by the margin you want when you have 4 points in the Grievel's Greed. I mean, he's opted to skip over Concoction completely to have enough gold to be able to go for these big plays, but he's just not getting the farming time he needs. Now he's going to be sticking with the Disruptor for now as a babysitter, being able to glimpse away and kinetic field people, so he's going to be able to get out alive. But Vici, very, very smart. They're focusing so many resources and so much attention on shutting down the Alchemist, and it is working.
Yeah, and this is giving space for the Juggernaut to farm. Our OTK continues to grow. He's already level 7.5. So has found a lot of the lane. Does he have anything else coming on the courier? No, it's just power treads and a bit of extra regen.
Oh,
but now
there's a glimpse back.
Major engagement.
Yeah, they're going in. They're getting the dunk. Lion is alley-ooped out, and ROTK actually has the chrono. Isn't going to pop it out just yet. There we go. He's picking his target carefully. There will be the Phoenix Egg. Nice Venn diagram of damage spraying out. And looks like the Ricky could be getting kind of low. Can they keep vision on him? That's the question. They go through with a dust. Oh, Phoenix, what a player. It's going to be Sylar with a killing spree now on the back of that Phoenix Icarus dive dust. And now they're looking to clean up here. It's just going to be the Ricky falling, so no big cores out just yet. But ROTK, he's still up. He's still got a decent chunk of mana, decent chunk of health, and there's a Dragon Form committed as they really want to get this tower. Now there will be a Dragon Tail stun. There is going to be a rotation on the back lines as Kyankan wants to find something. CTY, he's spinning. FTD.c, they're going to be losing their Disruptor here. Another Breathe Fire takes out another
He's got another
support.
Omni Slash up.
Oh man, this could be pretty big. They're gonna go in. They want to hold the Omni. They don't want to have to bust it out. The Doom, he ends up getting slapped down. It's only the Tiny limping away with his life. And this is really, really bad. VG are finding so much more out of the map. You know, every little step forward that FTD.c takes, VG find a mile.
Yeah, and this is the danger of the Tiny out combo. If you get crushed early on and you start falling behind, then your cores just aren't farmed enough to fight, really. And this Tiny, now sitting 5th on net worth, behind all 3 cores of VG, not what you want to see.
You know, he's going to get a big bump if this is going to be an Alk Synth. You know, he's sitting on a lot of gold right now, so I think they're going to go for it very quickly, even before, you know, a Radiance or anything. Phoenix does end up going down. Phoenix was pushed in a little bit too far, but it's, again, only a support Phoenix. He's deceptively huge right now. He gives away a 400 gold bounty just because he's participated in so many kills, but that's alright. You can afford to lose that trade. But back to the point about the Tiny, he's going to get a huge 4,200 gold net worth bump pretty soon, and he'll spike to the top of the chart. So it's not detrimental that Tiny's not, you know, huge right now.
Well, you know, I'm curious whether he's actually going to go for that. Because, I mean, I agree with you that that's probably the play, but look at Tiny's items. He's gone for an Arcane Boots. If you're going for a right-click Tiny, this is not the item. And maybe he just wants to be that burst ganker. But if so, then Butterfly's probably not the item. I imagine Blink is going to be what he goes for next, but I'm really curious to see how long he keeps these Arcane Boots.
Oh, Tiny getting scared off, or rather Ricky getting scared off, doesn't want to go for that bounty run. I mean, this Phoenix has been so on point with the dust, has another 2 in his inventory ready to go, so as soon as they catch whiff of the Ricky, he's going to go through. They will miss the dust at this point, so that's going to be a little bit of a big play there. There's still a cooldown. Static Storm completely whiffed. They were looking for something. Oh, they dunked down the combo. They will get a kill after all. Oh, Chrono connecting onto 2. They get the Doom here, and that's going to be pretty big. Phoenix going with the egg, the burn damage, making sure that no one from the Radiant wants to walk back on through, wants to reinitiate the Omni Slash coming out. CTY putting in the hours, and oh god, this is just so detrimental. They dropped the Lion, but in exchange for 3, that is completely fine. And looks like Fiji, they still got the Dragon Form up. They're going to take this Ancient stack, and then they're going to go push. And there is going to be a pause coming out, but it's looking really good. We got some Kale going on. But in terms of overall net worth, 3,000 holding steady for Fiji, and that's not unwinnable. Certainly FTD.c, if they get some really nice clutch combos, if they take this ultra late, they can come back. They can get some serious team fights going in their favor, but it's a steep wall to climb.
Yeah, and I mean, remember, this is VG 3k ahead with an Alk on the other side who's max Grievel's Greed.
Oh, we're going to get a fight here. There is no Chrono. They've got to be really careful here. The rest of the Radiant going in. They will get the dunk combo off, and they will get the kill onto the Faceless Void. He has no chance to react to that, but Ricky, he's burning. He goes in with the tricks of the trade, trying to get that vulnerability. Sylar is doomed up. Sylar could end up falling here. Goes to trying to do his best with the body blocks. There's going to be a Phoenix Icarus diving around. They really want to get the kill on the Ricky. They're tossing back in the Disruptor, making sure there's at least some bodies in the floor. The Doom will end up expiring very soon. Can they get the kill? The avalanche comes out, the nuke comes through, CTY is still alive, is still speeding on through. They do get the void, they get the DK, they're looking for some more blood, they do have the glimpse left on the disruptor. There's going to be the kinetic field coming back on in, as it looks like there will be a TP out. They're not going to be able to get down the Phoenix in this case, so dropping the void and the DK is expensive, but it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, I mean, they get important pickoffs, but they still lose their tower. It was right-clicked down by the DK, so he got the last hit. And the fact that they lost those two heroes, good for FTD Club C, but they need more. And you saw just how tanky the Dragon Knight is already. With Doom on him, with 4 heroes chasing him, he still survived for what is a little bit too long if you're an FTD.c fan.
I mean, yeah, this Dragon Knight is having some fun. We talked about his potential struggles middle against the Elk, but he's going to go for that Sange. Now, do you think we're going to see a Halberd or a Sange and Yasha? What's he doing here?
Probably SNY is my guess. I mean, Halberd not bad against a Tiny and an Alchemist, but the Sange and Yasha just enables him to fight so much more, so much earlier. And it really feels like against an Alchemist and a Tiny, this is what VG are going to be looking for. They're going to be looking for an early push timing where they get a couple picks, take down tier 2s, limit the map for FTD.c, and then, take Roche and push high.
So Alchemist has gone for the Relic. He's not completely rushing Ags. It remains to be seen whether he will go for the Ags eventually, but I think you gotta bump this Tiny's net worth as much as possible, as soon as possible, and Radiance feels really, really greedy from an Alch that's this far behind.
I mean, it's gonna be 15 minutes, so it's not awful with an armlet. Like, there's way worse timings you can get with this item combo, but I agree with the choice here. I think he needed another farming item. If he gets far enough ahead, he can then give the Scepter, and that's just fine for the Tiny. But if he goes for it too early and limits his own ability to farm because of it, then FTD Club C, they're all in.
Oh, Ricky's scouted out here. They do have that sentry board. They know something's going on. They're looking for the Doom here. Oh, Doom gets stunned up immediately. No chance to react. It's a Static Storm. There's, everything just going out. And there's going to be a Omni Slash coming in. It looks like the Radiant are getting punished for this rotation. All they wanted to do was contest Roche, and they may not get the luxury to do so. Phoenix Egg will end up blasting down. Ghost is stunned up. Ghost is melting down. It's a 5-man wipe for VG. At 15 minutes in the game, they're going to secure a Roche on the back of this. This fight could not have gone any more in favor of VG.
I do not know why they thought they could fight there. All of the dire ults were online. You're playing with a Tiny who's far behind. You're playing with a Doom who has basically been nullified this game. He's had almost 0 game impact. And you saw it there. If he'd maybe been able to get off a Doom, it could have worked out. But he runs in the front, thinking that he can tank. But against the Chrono, against the Sunray, against the Egg, against the Omni Slash, you cannot tank through that. And Lion Finger finishes him off before he can get that critical teamfight spell off.
Yeah, I mean, that is gotta be demoralizing. Now, FTD Club C, they're not tapping out, and, for good reason. An Alk and a Tiny can scale up awesome late game.
You never GG with these heroes.
I mean, you can basically only GG when the throne is half health at this point, because Tiny's gonna get huge. Like, he just scales so well, but it's gonna take him longer and longer. He does pick up a Blink, he's got the Arcanes, he's got a decent chunk of money. I think his first big item will be telling. If he goes for the point booster, then I really disagree with the Alchemist pick. If he goes for the Eagle Song, then we're gonna see a Butterfly. Now, do you think he needs to go for a stepping stone in between? Something like a Drums?
Well, I mean, with the Arcane's Blink, he's basically full in on fighting. This item build is just for getting your Blink Avatos combo, but you're against a very tanky cores. You're against Faceless Void, who can time walk some of the damage off, a Dragon Knight who's just naturally tanky, and the Junk as well, with 1200 HP and the Spin to avoid some of that magical damage potentially. So I really feel like Chen Chen is going to have to go for some kind of other fighting item. Maybe an Echo Saber would be a nice
speaking of fighting, we might not have much of an option here. There is going to be a dust popped out, but everyone backs off in time, so big smoke. Not catching out anything now. There is going to be the Ricky giving a lot of good eyes on this fight. There is going to be pings out. They know he's somewhere. There's going to be ROTK jumping on in. Do they have any sort of surround? They go for the Doom onto ROTK. There's going to be Phoenix in the back lines getting some nice spray with that Sunbeam. Okay, they do finish off the Faceless Void, but really nice Static Storm connecting onto a bunch here. They're ripping apart everyone. Sylar will end up falling here. There's going to be the nuke from the Satyr coming back out. He's glimpsed back on through, getting played with here. It looks like FTD.c, they're playing with their dinner. There will be an Omni Slash, though, going through. Sylar, he's double damaged up. He's going to take everyone out with him. He will fall, taking 2 down at his side. Now, CTY, it's just going to be him. He's the lone survivor on the Dire going through. There's only one hero alive. It's an Alchemist with a sliver of health. What a bloodbath in this mid lane at 18 minutes in.
Yeah, that was the fight that FTD.c could take. They were the ones with the initiation. They got both of their important teamfight spells off. The Doom immediately, and then the Static Storm on 3 heroes to follow it up. Really nice initiation from them. If they had had anything less perfect than that initiation, they would have lost that fight even harder. The Alchemist surviving is great. He finds himself his boots of travel now, so that's going to really help him out a lot. But again, your Tiny goes down. He is falling farther and farther behind, now sitting almost 3k behind the Dragon Knight.
It's not looking good here. I mean, you gotta have an Alchemist at the top of the charts constantly. He's saving up a decent chunk of gold now. Tiny, flying in a Yasha, so could be going for the farming SNY, could be going in for the Manta. What do you think we're gonna see here? Because you mentioned he needs to go full on fighting. I think Manta, but I don't even know.
Yeah, probably the Manta will be the choice. SNY doesn't do a whole lot for Tiny. The Yasha already gives him the move speed, which is what he really needs, as well as the attack speed, and the Manta will enable him, once he does get that Alchemist Ag Scepter, to split push very effectively.
Alright, they are going to run headlong into Ghost here. Earth Spike going in. They've got the Burning Finger. It looks like they're... Oh, gonna get punished!
Again.
The Chrono clips Ghost on the very edge. It looks like they will get the kill on the Alchemist. He can't afford to fall. He's alive. Still, they stopped the beam just a little bit too early, and it looks like Alchemist will get alive. He gets up the Chemical Rage. They're looking for more. They're looking for the Ricky. Ricky pops into the tricks of the trade, and Lycus goes back in. There's a spin from CTY. The egg will go through cleanly. They only dropped the line in the fight, but the Alch getting out was too costly for VG. They've got to back out with minimal loss, but they might not get the opportunity. There's going to be an Avalanche Toss combo. They get down the bird. CTY goes in. He's got the Omni. They finish off the Doom, and now Ghost. He's going to be channeling up a stun, but who's his target? There's too many big boys. Looks like Ghost may end up stunning himself. Will stun himself. On the back lines, there will be the Disruptor falling down. The kinetic field was not enough to save his life, and CTY, he's looking for something. There's the toss. There's the combo. CTY to fall. He pops the Aegis. Now Ghost is back in the fight. He's got no Chemical Rage. This is where they punish him. RTK looking for something, but he doesn't have the Chrono. And there's going to be CTY going back on through, but not going to be trapped in that little channel there with the range creep blocking him in. So it looks like everyone going back to farming. This could be the end of the fight. Oh, maybe they're looking to wrap around here for Kyan. He's going to be sitting low. He's got to go in for that TP. This is going to be the end of the engage here, but holy hell, who even comes out on top? That was absurd.
At least FTD.c saved their Alchemist, but they still give up 2 kills. And they don't get enough off of it. Juggernaut Aegis, it was already getting close to expiring, so that's not a huge pick. And you see the problem for FTD.c fighting into CTY right now. The Alchemist was channeling his stun, but if he tried to throw it on CTY, who was going on his backlines, CTY just instantly spins. So there was no kill potential on the Jug, and they just have to basically sit there and watch while this guy demolishes their Disruptor.
I mean, this Disruptor has just kind of been bullied the entire game. He's trying so hard. He got a really nice kinetic field. He got a really nice static storm earlier on, but 05-11... You know, he's so level dependent. He is level 8, so he's keeping up a little bit. Now, what do you think he needs to itemize for? Because he's poor as trash. I mean, he's got 1,700 total net worth at 20 minutes in the game. Does he need a Glimmer? Does he need a Force? Does he absolutely need an Ags? And where is it going to come from?
I mean, at this point, he just needs whatever scraps he can get. Like, his farm is not what's going to help him contribute to the fight. It's whether his team can get ahead. This is a hero who needs his team to be winning engages so he can take advantage of heroes when they're trying to run away. This hero does not like being on the team that's running. Then he's kind of useless. So it's really, for him to have an impact on this game, it's really on the rest of his team to start farming better, to start doing better in fights. That way he can actually have his impact.
Oh, we've got a Dragon Knight here. He's going to be scouting out a juicy Doom. He wants to go in for this. We'll pop the Dragon form. They're going to be looking for the Ricky instead. They get the Dust, or rather just the Raw Vision. And it looks like Ricky going to be left off. Oh, the Icarus dive, dodge out the Avalanche. So it looks like FTD.c, they might have expended the resources. They might have to back off. They bring in CTY with the Omni Slash. He's looking for something to get that cute little stun. And oh, okay, just the spin here. Tiny's got no chance to react. They spin up Juggernaut like a helicopter, but it looks like he will be falling. He's feeling A-okay. And now everyone else on FTD.c are running away.
Yeah, and you cannot show that hesitation. FTD.c Club C, they're like, oh, do we go in? Do we not? That hesitation... then they turn to run away against a team with 2 Blink Daggers, a Time Walk, and an Icarus Dive. Like, you just can't run against this lineup. It will not work, and they get heavily punished there, losing their Tiny, whose farm is so important in this game.
Alright, we've got a Gem of True Sight onto Burning. That's how they scouted out the Ricky before. How long do you think the Lion's going to hold on to that? Because Lion's been doing pretty good at dying here. He's got 7 deaths to himself.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he gives it to probably ROTK would be the choice. He can drop his either Quelling or Poor Man's Shield. Probably the best person to carry it. But he'll hang on to it for now, and they just force out the illusions onto the tier 3, get some chip damage, and meanwhile, split back go farm some more.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the kind of the flux and flow of the game. When VG are ready to fight, they go in, they smoke up, they look for picks. It's going to be down to FTD.c to play this one safe. I mean, they're smoked up themselves looking for something, but the net worth is telling the tale here. Going to be about 10k in favor of the Dire right now. Now, we're looking at what Tiny's got, and he is going to be going in, saving up a bunch of money, most likely for the Ultimate Orb on the Manta style. Looking at what Alchemist has, he picks up a Yasha. Surprised he isn't going for an Axe yet. Looks like he needs one more fighting item. He needs the Manta here, and that will help him dodge out, you know, the Dragon Tail. That'll help him dodge out the Ultimate from the Jug, but is it going to be enough? Do you think the Alchemist can come back from such a yucky start? Oh.
Well, honestly, I think that's his only play here.
HYM.
I mean, Chen on the Tiny.
HYM lives! There's gonna be an egg! Oh god, that is an amazing play. The reaction time for Vici is unreal. They should have lost the Phoenix there by every single regard, and they end up getting the Tiny instead. What an amazing trade. They've got the double damage Sylar, now with the Dragon Form enabled for the next 45 seconds or so, so their time to charge down. They're going to go for mid, and without the Tiny, without the Ricky, FTD.c can't do anything about this. That is going to be the game-winning play right there.
Yeah, this is more or less over. Tiny will probably be forced to buy back here unless he wants to lose his full lane of racks. And Sylar with this DD is going to actually jump forward, blow up Splickus here. He's down. Doom fingered into the grave.
There's a buyback right away. Doom is not ready to go out. He's still got his ulti. So if he gets the Doom of his life, maybe they can look for a pick at the back. That's Tiny. He's up in 5 seconds. They've got to find something. Looks like VG are content with the tier 3. They are going to go through to get Sylar back. This could be a big pick, but Sylar actually looking to turn things. They're bringing the Phoenix once again. There's going to be that Omni Slash from the Juggernaut CTY. Briefly silenced up by the Ricky Cloud, but everyone on the Radiant still up, still fighting. There will be a stun going through, won't connect on CTY. He's Magic Immune. HYM TPs going for that beam on out. I don't think they can punish him just yet. He will TP back out of base. So BG, once again, they go, they get a pick that they wanted, they get a tower that they wanted, they back out with minimal loss. This is going to be the pace of the game.
Yeah, and the Doom was forced to buy back, so if he wasn't irrelevant earlier, he definitely is now. He wasn't able to get his Doom off once again, and honestly, he was so close to dying again, I thought that they would commit on him, but they are wary, they don't want that Doom to catch them off guard, they don't want to commit too heavily, and they will back, but I mean, it is so hard for FTD.c to win team fights right now.
I mean, they're looking for something here. Now, I think a lot of this goes back to where's the raw damage coming from FTD.c? They've got decent survivability. I mean, the Alchemist with the Chemical Rage, it's proved to keep himself alive more than once in a sticky situation, but you've got the Tiny, whose big damage is coming from not the right clicks, but the Avalanche Toss combo, and the Juggernaut's Magic Immune. I mean, he doesn't really care about that.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the problem. And I was going to say before that fight broke out that the Alchemist going for the Mantis style, I don't think he can afford to give an Ags over to the Tiny anymore. Because a Tiny with a Blink Ags at 26 minutes is not going to be a right-click power. He is going to walk into a fight and get blown up. So I don't think it's even worth it for the Alp to spend his gold on that. He just needs to get fat as he can and split push and hope to hell that he can buy his team enough time to farm back.
Oh, burning! With the prediction here, we'll find out that Tiny goes in for the Hex. They bring in the Phoenix. If Tiny goes down here, there's not much you can do. He will die. He's got buyback, but that's gotta be absolutely demoralizing. Now the second Roche of the game will be fallen. Looks like CTY, he's got a slot, he's got his eyes on the prize. I mean, this Juggernaut, he starts with the Battle Fear, he goes into the Manta like, alright, nice and usual, and then picks up a Scotty. He's just so far ahead, and you know, if you look at who's actually doing the damage in these team fights, Alchemist is kinda null and void, so if you take away his net worth, the top 3 heroes on the chart are all gonna be VG, and they're all capable of fighting at a moment's notice. This is looking really good for the Dire. I mean, the net worth chart is telling the tale here. 12,000 gold advantage
against an Alchemist.
Against an Alchemist. So, I mean, you take away Alchemist net worth, we are plummeting towards 20k, and now VG, they've got themselves pretty much a 20k lead in terms of overall XP. There's a reason FTD.c aren't tapping out, and I guess they're hoping to maybe delay the high ground push and take this ultra late, but VG have shown that they have no remorse for taking fights within the Radiant base.
Yeah, they can try and split push as best they can, and they do have decent building damage if they can somehow win a fight, but it's going to take a lot.
Oh, CTY with the reaction skills of a freaking machine there, and now Ghost, he's stuck up. He's going to be going away with that Manta, able to get himself out of danger, but he can't add anything to the fight now. The Static Storm will expire. Disruptor's contribution to the fight's pretty much over. He can't walk back in because he's going to get killed. And it looks like there is still going to be Ghost going back in. He wants to find something here. He's got the armlet keeping him tanky. There's going to be an Omni Slash coming through. There will be a Chrono. It's not going to do a whole lot. I guess zoning is something there, but everyone at VG, they're still alive. They're going to be running out of here. They don't want to give up too much for RTK, jumping right back out after that glimpse back on through. Looking for the kill on the Doom here. CTY, he's got no breaks. He's ready to go in, ready to get a kill. There will be another kill onto the Doom. Doom has no buyback. This could be the end. There's an Earth Spike. There's another kill onto the Ricky. Triple kill for CTY. This Juggernaut has hit his power spike like nobody's business, and now the first lane of racks will end up falling in favor of VG. This could be a tap out. If we switch to buybacks, very few people have it, and very few people want to spend that money, so Ghost, I mean, he's sitting there waiting for something, goes in for the Chemical Rage. Maybe this is the play. They bring in the Alchemist as well. He's got the Blink, he's got the full combo. But who is this target? There's too many big beef boys on the side of VG. They're going in onto Sylar. They want him down, but there's no Dragon form. But ROTK blinks in aggressively, at least making space for his team. There will be a dust revealing ROTK, not revealing the Ricky. He's not going to be in the party just yet. There is going to be the Ricky going in, and he will die. Now Kyan, he's going to be running for his life here. They're looking for the Tiny. That's going to be, that's a dead Rock Boy, and that's going to be a dieback if he goes down. Looks like he will be finished off by what looked to be a range creep. He's coming back into
more or less.
He's coming back into the fight for the last time. This is a Hail Mary here. They're fighting without their supports. They've got to go in. Ghost just YOLOs on through. He doesn't have the Chemical Rage. There's a double man Earth Spike burning. He's ready to lay loose there, and it is going to be a dead Doom. Everyone's dead, and the GG will be called. VG take a very commanding game number 1.
I mean, they just couldn't kill CTY. He was fighting below half HP for like the last 5 minutes, and they couldn't even burn the Aegis. He had another life sitting on backup just in case he did go down, but they couldn't kill him once, let alone twice. I mean, it just comes down to the Tiny Alchemist being just a little too greedy against the team fight prowess of the Void Phoenix. You can't underestimate that, and the Tiny going for the Arcane Boots Blink build really did not pay off for him. He needed to be able to right-click. The Magic Burst is not going to work out for you against a Dragon Knight, a Juggernaut, and a Faceless Void as your cores. It just won't happen. So he's not able to do anything, dies 7 times. Bit of a rough game for him. The Doom as well, really struggling to commit, to contribute anything to the team fight. Just a dismantling for VG Gaming.
Alright, so again, that's only game 1 of a 2-game series. FTD.c, they've got a chance to bring it home. We're going to see how the draft changes up in just a couple of minutes, but first, I'm Annie, that's Sindar. Our Twitter handles are over there on the right-hand side of the stream if you want to check us out. And yeah, we'll be back with more DPL action in just a couple of moments.